Scratchboard. You should have a picture of a wolf here. This is a really good reference image because it's got a really good range of values. It's very clear. You can see the direction of the fur. Um, Again, you've got lighter areas, darker areas. What you want to look at is where the values are kind of chunked. So I'm looking at these highlights here. When I go to transfer this, I want to make sure that I transfer those chunks of values. I can also take and draw some lines to show the direction of the fur. You're going to notice above the eye it kind of fans around the eye and then it changes direction. When we do a scratchboard, we want to mimic the length of the fur and the direction of the fur. So length and direction. In order to sort of start this, what we're going to do is we're going to transfer this image to a piece of scratchboard paper, which is the same process you're going to use for your final scratchboard. So just take some pencil, put it all over the back of this reference image, and we're going to place our little scratchboard paper under it, and now we're going to transfer it. You want to be very detailed when you transfer this. So again, nice and clean, nice and neat. Try to pay attention to the shape of things. You also want to transfer the different values, so you have like a value map. So what's black on the reference image will be black on the scratchboard. Notice I added a couple of directional lines for the fur and some of the folds and the tongue, all that fun stuff. So what's revealed should be a nice transferred image of the wolf. And what we're going to do now is we're going to start to try to mimic this fur by scratching away the black to reveal the white underneath. I'm using an X-Acto knife, I'm holding it just like a pencil, and I'm scratching it just with the tip. Again, I'm trying to mimic the length and the direction of the fur. So this fur is starting to fan around the eyeball in kind of a fanning fashion. Notice my scratches are really small and really short. They're not long. We can give the appearance of longer fur by making shorter scratches. Now I want to go back in and add another layer on top to start to brighten it. Notice the fur lines under the eye are really short, so my scratches are really short. As it goes out away from the eye, they get longer. And I'm going back and lightening, just adding another layer for the bright areas. If it's darker, you don't want to add another layer. Inside the eye, I've got really tiny scratches. We're trying to make this appear that it's somewhat smooth, so they're really small. And all of mine are going in the same direction. Again, I'm layering it. I'm trying to add more scratches to make things brighter in appearance. On the smoother surfaces like the teeth, you can use the crosshatch method. So all of my strokes are going in one direction and I go back and crosshatch it to sort of make it appear smooth. Again, fine detail. This is not a quick process, but the more time you put into it, the better this is going to appear and going to look. So you're trying to pay attention to highlight and shadow as well as length and direction of line. So here's one that's not quite complete, but you can see there's a good variation of values in here. Just by spacing apart the lines, you can make it appear darker, and by overlapping them, you make a brighter sort of appearance of fur. You can see that the fur over here on the left is a little bit longer. Instead of doing really long scratches, I just overlap short ones like this. So these are still pretty short. I'm putting a layer down, and then we'll go back and I'm going to add some longer scratches over top of that to make the fur appear that it's longer. I just want to show you a few different things from some different animals. Again, different reference images. Here's a lion. I'm going to show you how to do long fur because long strokes are really difficult. If I zoom in here, we'll be able to show you. Again, I'm starting with just small scratches. They're not very long. I'm just trying to put a layer down here so that it can fill the gray areas. You know, as it's going down towards the bottom, they're a little bit longer, but not much. And then once I get this layer finished, now I can go back and start to add some highlights. So I'm making some longer strokes, longer scratches, pressing a little bit firmer to make the appearance that this fur is a lot longer. I'm just doing it kind of in areas. This is how you want to make long fur. We layer it starting small and then adding longer strokes on top of that. Bring in a nose here, again transfer it. And just to show you how to do the nose, I'm doing basically little tiny dots to give it the texture or appearance that it's got those little pits in it. Really tiny, just to give it that sort of texture. Again, you want to make sure that whatever's black on your reference, you keep it black. You don't want to scratch in there because that's the shadow area. The closer that you put your dots together, the shinier it's going to be, the brighter it's going to appear. And a little bit of fur on the outside here. Nose. Bird beaks a little bit more difficult since they're not furry. It's hard to sort of mimic smooth things. So what I chose to do is to do the crosshatch technique. Again, my lines are going in one direction. They're pretty short. I want to kind of make this look marbly or scratchy or scuffed up. And then I'm going to go back the opposite direction and add some cross hatching here. This process is going to take a lot longer than what I'm putting into it right now to make it look smoother, but it's just a matter of going back and forth with the cross hatching and brightening highlighted areas and keeping the darker areas dark. Last thing is an eye. Again, we were trying to make this glassy look. We want to transfer all of the highlights and shadows, and I'm just kind of using lines that are small lines in the same direction and brighten in the areas where it's brighter. This highlight in the eye, we want that to be really white so that sort of separates from the iris. Notice how the black areas stayed black.